Вітання з українського
Welcome to Ukrainian Crisis Media Center. At this moment, the communicator of communities, Dobra program, and UCMC starts its briefing. Currently, the prospective plans for the communities amalgamated territorial communities development are the final stage, and now the communities design for their future development and specifically economic development. Why it is important for community to calculate sustainable development and make pragmatic decisions. How do communities united in previous years view the enlargement? We have Mr. Volodymyr Zheludenko, chairman of the Stanislavska ATC in Kherson region. As far as I understand and recollect, you were not a big supporter of the reform at the beginning, but currently you have created your amalgamated territorial community without that lack of support. I cannot say that I was very totally against the amalgamation, but I had some skepticism and I had some fears, because now 5,000 people authorized me to lead them to future development, and this is big responsibility and it required a lot of effort from me, and I'm very grateful to the project that supported reunification. They allowed us to see the experience of other Ukrainian regions, and having carefully calculated our possibilities, we decided to put forward this initiative. First, I suggested this to my local community, then we approached to neighboring communities, and we came to positive decision. Why it took 2 years for us to make final decision? Yuri Ganushak recently said that in 15 the most courageous communities got united. In the year 2017, the most clever communities got united, but in 2019 the most wise communities got united. As far as I understand, you have almost 8,000 of people who united into the territorial community. My question to you: what are financial capacities of your community now? Did the budget have changed? Did the budget change? Yes, we have taken additional financial responsibilities upon us. We have established direct financial relations with the central budget, and of course the budget had grown. Local revenues had grown to by some percent, but the further growth will require more time. Now we pay attention at the need to transform the general mindset of our people. The calculations before amalgamation proved that, of course, we are able to survive having united, but the task is not just to survive but to prosper, and this prosperity depends on all of us if all members of the community will not pay taxes, then will have no revenues and no budget. State monitoring demonstrated that you have 3.9% of subsidies from the local, from the state budget, while the community which is not far from you, they have 7 times higher incomes per capita. So how do you survive? We cannot say that we are rich. The most reliable indicator of our financial capacity, per capita income of population, and we take almost the last position in the region, but the capacity should not be measured with money exclusively. I believe that we have intellectual potential, that we have people with the proactive life position, who have initiatives, who have business mindset. Of course, we cannot just look on the financial capacity. I fully agree with you. What had changed during last 2 years in your community? Whether we observe any changes in education? When we just got united, I invited the educational people in our community, and had shown them that they had chances to become financial managers in their educational institutions, but they rejected to take full financial responsibility, and they remained it in our community administration. But later on, after the first year, a school decided to become financially independent. Then a kindergarten decided to become financially independent. This demonstrates that they gradually become more prepared and try to take the responsibility. So this again suggests that you can change the mindset quickly. As far as I know, currently the regions are passing their development master plans. As far as I know, Stanislavska community will be enlarged with the Alexandrivska community, and there will be more than 10,000 people, and the capacity index will be 3.6. How do you perceive this future enlargement of Stanislavska community? In our case, we take this rather positively, this prospective enlargement. Why we should be together? Because geographically we are very close. All our 3 communities who will amalgamate rather soon. We are on the bank of the Dnipro mouth, and the distance between our communities is around 5-7 kilometers. And in the past, we had our joint hospital for 3 communities. We have a musical school for children, which offers services to children from all the 3 communities. Actually, we are very closely interrelated via marriages, via close family relations. Actually, geographically, we are located in some relative geographical isolation, and the maximum that you can unite in this territory, these are our 3 local communities. Was it the initiative of your community, but a suggestion of the regional administration? I put forward that initiative back in 2017. At that time, it was rejected. As of now, I hear opposite views in our local community. Some people support this, some people object this, but when the regional administration of Kherson region decided to bring these 3 communities together, I think that the opponents will be weakened. The bigger the community is, the more funds we are able to accumulate for the infrastructural projects. And in general, not about my community, there are some communities which unite up to 60,000 of population. I believe this is too much for one local community. They are extremely big. If you compare a community with a family, very big communities prevent from proper attention to all the community members. I believe that up to 10,000, 15,000 of people, this ensures more social trust to local authorities. But with the small local communities, you should have a good source of taxation, like entrepreneurs, like farmers, and maybe some at least middle-sized enterprises, while we do not have such middle-sized enterprises. And I believe that our 3 villages merging together will create very good and powerful family. Of course, we are far from very strong capacity, but in case each community member would work for the interests of the community, our community will become strong. And we have specific vision of the future. What is the strategy for Stanislavska community development? As far as I know, you started to make your community tidy. You gathered garbage, you evacuated it, and this is a good example because not all the communities are very successful in that. We just started to resolve this problem with garbage, and why we have started with the waste collection. as far as I mentioned, our geography is very close to the south, to the southern shore of the sea. We have 20 kilometers of seashore, and we have nice beaches, and we cannot offer any beach resort capacities to them. And now in our strategy we decided that we must provide this good beach facilities for potential holiday makers, and we have designed several projects. The first project was to put on the camping elements of camping facilities on the seashore. And by the way, people come not just in summer, they come even in winter. Our primarily idea was to conserve this camping facilities for winter, but we found out that people come even in winter. Then we started to think how to attract tourists, and we found out that on our seashores, on our shore rocks, and they are full of waste, of garbage, and we decided to clean them and then invite people, because people would not come to observe all dust, bulks of garbage. So we have introduced the waste management. We have procured selection of waste, and now we collect separately plastic bottles and glass bottles, and this does not resolve the problem in full scope, but nevertheless this will go for recycling. In future we plan to increase this separate facilities for separate collection of garbage. At the very beginning, people were unable to understand what we want from them. But gradually, this becomes more and more popular. Of course, we started public awareness campaigns in schools, because we are doing this for future generations. By the way, this waste is collected for some fare. Yes, 5.5 hryvnia is a fare paid by people, and this year we started to collect waste and manage it by special garbage collecting car. People keep asking me, why you wasted money for this garbage collection truck instead of highways? I try to explain to people that without proper waste management, tomorrow our grandchildren will live among that bulks of garbage everywhere, which will adversely impact development of our local community. Well, let's imagine that tomorrow your territory will be clean from garbage, but you need tourist infrastructure, you need good roads and tourist investors. How do you attract potential investors? We try to advertise our beautiful landscapes and social networks and internet. We try to send delegates to tourist fora and to show the potential. Besides our capacity to invite to offer tourist facilities, we also may become a tourist hub. That is, people can travel through our territory. For example, Kinburn Island, we may also offer transit transportation to good tourist destinations in the national parks, which are not far from us, but they're in remote areas. We also suggest to develop bicycle routes, and we suggest to create a tourist center in the village, and that is, we want to offer good quality information to potential tourists, where we will explain people where to go by bicycle, where to go with the kayaking, etc. And I would like to use today's opportunity and invite you to come to our local community. Let's assume that I am a business entrepreneur who want to come to you. I'm interested in a land plot with all the communication, sewage, electricity, etc., where I can build a small hotel, for example. We have some land plots, not that numerous, but we have some. But the issue is in legislation that we have so-called protected areas on the seashore. On the other hand, it's good. On the opposite hand, it's bad on the opposite side. Part of our shore area is protected, is state reserves. Of course, it's partially it's good that you can preserve landscapes, natural tourist destinations. On the other hand, you cannot develop entrepreneurial projects on that land. In my opinion, you can cooperate with neighboring communities, find out whether it is possible to find a place for the hotel in neighboring community. We are thinking about scientific entrepreneurship. We plan for development of green tourism. We have 2 houses now to to households who are ready to offer green tourism. Then we are projecting for a camping site. Of course, it will not be very comfortable. I believe that our destination is not designed for passive tourism. It is more tailored for active tourism, like hiking, like cycling, like kayaking, etc. We have appointed one person who is planning to organize a kayaking project, kayaking entrepreneurship. We have some entrepreneurs who decided to start a business of craft cheeses. So these are in the focus of our main attention. We want to employ our local population and to remain to bring money back to our local community. That's why inviting other businesses is not my objective. My objective is to employ local population. But not all local population may be may wish to stay locally. For example, on TV I saw an IDPs from Donbass who had opened a tailor's workshop in your village. I think we are very lucky that two women, they arrived to us and organized that business. And now they produce corporate apprentice uniform. In the past, they started from just the ground floor, but now they are growing, and they have rented the second floor, the first floor. And on the one hand, these are taxes. This means taxes to our local budget. On the other hand, this means good employment for our people, and unfortunately we do not have enough jobs, and many male population go for labor migration, and many women remain home, and they want to be employed, and we are happy that women are employed in that small size enterprise. At the very beginning of our discussion, you mentioned that not all the entrepreneurs are aware that they should be disciplined taxpayers. How do you work with your entrepreneurs? We do not have much leverage, much sources of influence to strengthen payment of taxes. Last year, before final approval to local taxes, we organized a meeting with our local entrepreneurs and ask them, maybe we can decrease our taxes in exchange of bringing your labor force to legal light. And unfortunately, that meeting at the very beginning was not very popular. Only 2 entrepreneurs attended the meeting. But today I'm in Kiev to attend a workshop devoted to the issue how to establish good contacts with businesses, what to offer to business, what to encourage them to strengthen a good cooperative relationship with us. In a small village, we all know that when entrepreneurs do not pay taxes for half of their employees, but unfortunately, as local authority, we can do almost nothing. Of course, we can organize a war and whistle-blow. We want to live in peace and reach consensus and agreement. That's very harmful when part of entrepreneurs do not pay taxes. This discourages good taxpayers. And my next question is about administrative services. We all want to make these services close and of good quality. Due to cooperation with the European program, we have established a center for administrative services in our local community. Of course, we will try to develop this center further, but we have a state registrator's position. Now we have 2 state registrators. This creates good conditions for businesses, for local people. Thus, we can register private entrepreneurs, we can register businesses, we can register private properties. As for other services, we would like to speed our cooperation with ULEAD. Last year, we have established this Center of Administrative Services, but in order to launch it in full scope, we need ULEAD to provide us with furniture and computers with software. As of now, they have not provided what they obliged, but we expect to get this by the end of the month. And this will considerably raise our capacity to deliver services to people. Do you make foreign passports? No, we cannot. I don't see this might be useful. We are 20 kilometers from the district center where they have delivery of that service. Even procurement of equipment for foreign passports is too expensive for us. Maybe foreign aid will help. And of course, in case we will have further opportunities, we will develop them. I think Stanislavska community is happy to welcome youth projects. Recently, I saw presentation of the youth needs in your community. What do you expect from them? Last year, we have established the youth council in our community, and as I promised, I brought a chairman of that youth council to the executive council of our local authority, and I believe that the youth should play more role in decision making. Now, we are thinking about establishment of the veterans organization in our local community. As for youth council, perhaps you saw an announcement about the youth event, but unfortunately the quarantine started at schools on the one hand. On the other hand, we survived through a stormy weather, and we had to postpone this huge youth event till next. You mentioned about the storm, you mentioned about roads. Let's assume the snowstorm had come. Whether you you have sufficient capacity to clean your roads from the snow. Yes, I can. I'm proud that the road subvention, which is allocated by the state from the central level, allowed us to buy necessary machinery. And currently we have 4 machines. Unfortunately, these are just light, smaller machines, but they allow us to clean the streets and the state road, which brings together all our 3 villages, and cleaning of that state road was done on the account of our national community. As you mentioned that your achievements were rather modest, but you are rather successful. And my last question. As far as I know, you have your own radio broadcasting. Why you have organized it? Because we believe that radio is a good communication tool. This was one of the youth projects. Our young people had developed it, and then they have found grant money. They have procured equipment. Of course, this is not FM radio. This is just loudspeaking radio. But due to that facilities, we can spread the news about our local authority decisions. We can congratulate people with their birthdays and spread information. We have a loudspeaker on the market square, and on Saturdays when farmers and entrepreneurs arrive to this market, we use this loudspeaking radio about our news. And final question, how do you see your community after 5 years in future? I want to see it flourishing, wealthy, prosperous. But looking at our current situation, I think 5 years will not be enough to reach that level of prosperity which I would like to see. Business development requires time. Business development requires changing the people's mindset in the people mentalities, and mentality does not change that quickly as we wish. Thank you very much. I wish you prosperity. I wish you good development. And I would like to remind you that we met with Volodymyr Zheludenko,